Okay, so here Rhea and I are in the dinghy and we're going for our morning walk, and I thought it would be productive multitasking and turn this walk into also an opportunity just to say hello to our fellow cruisers here in Tambobo Bay and ask them, what do they think is the important criteria to making the perfect sailboat tender dinghy? And that'll help me in my brainstorming to make my project dinghy sailboat tender. Also, I think it's worth its time just to meet these guys and to document their story. These are some really charismatic people that sailed all around the world, and they've come here in Tambobo Bay to settle down. And so I'm excited just to record their story. My buddy Claude's boat. It's got an interesting looking dinghy on that. Looks like it has a tiller place. It has some nice rolling paddles. It's his boat, hailing from Marseille on Nava. I believe they bought that boat somewhere in Indonesia. It's a beautiful catamaran. They're bringing it up to snuff. Can you tell me a little about your dinghy and since I'm making my own, what do you like and don't like about your dinghy?
Well, what I don't like is that it's not self-bailing, but to make it self-bailing you would have to have the floorboard much higher so that it creates like a air. But if not, this one can row well, can scull. You know what is sculling in the back there?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what that was. I thought that was for a tiller.
No, that's
Interesting. So it has a sculling option.
and it's a magnificent sailing dinghy. Magnificent.
Interesting.
I will send you a little video of the boat under sail.
So what makes it a good sailing dinghy? What are the design of it makes it good
Let's
sailing?
compare it, for instance, with the one that the Finnish guy had,
Yeah.
which anyway is not a sailing dinghy.
No.
But he is more boxy. This
Yes.
one is very narrow entrance in the water, and it has a V shape, so it attacks, the waves better. So this is a very, very nice dinghy. This would be the absolute perfect dinghy to teach your kid how to sail. Absolutely, 100%.
So then you put the sail way in the front there.
Yeah, and the boom goes
Okay.
all the way. You see the mast is on the lifeline.
I'll take a picture before I leave.
Yeah.
So does it have a keel on there?
You have a centerboard, which is
So that's you can take it out if you don't use it. Oh, okay, and then that's the tiller.
That's a tiller that goes up when you come to the beach.
Oh, okay. And then you can also just put an engine on it too, and just use that engine.
We have a 3 horsepower.
And you can use the engine too.
Yeah, of course.
So this is sailing, sculling,
This does everything.
rowing. You can do rowing.
This one does everything except
and then
cappuccino or something in the morning, but all the rest it does. No, honestly.
That's funny. And okay. How about this? Tell me about the construction. What is it made out of? How is it made?
This one would be a bit complicated to explain, but if you build one, you do what is called stitch and glue. You get the plan, you draw, you cut thin plywood, then you assemble the plywood, you make holes, you put nylon line, then with epoxy you put your finger and you make a seam, then you epoxy the seam. So if you want to see one build like that, which is exactly this one, but that much bigger, when you come at Arlene's place, on the right, there is the same color dinghy. That's the one I gave to Boy, because I left the thing here. Unfortunately, it was left in the mud, and the termites started chewing. So when I came back, it was gone. And so this one was built like 25 years ago. I built it in Miami. So
you built that thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
in Miami.
Yeah.
So this gives you memories when you look at that, huh?
Yeah, shit. Especially because I sold my boat with the dinghy in Puerto. I made a new one, but then it's rotted. When I came to Puerto, my friend who had the dinghy he's not the kind who's going sailing, and so he bought an inflatable. And I said, what about this one? He said, take it. So I took back to the dinghies. Yeah, it's and it takes in two. It goes in two pieces. You can see.
Oh, it takes in two pieces.
Yeah, you
so
see
that
the connection.
beautiful.
So the small one goes into the big one.
Interesting.
And
Okay, so that's that. That was an idea that someone mentioned that.
5 feet.
So, Claude, what is this seat right here?
That's a sliding seat.
Okay.
And then you put these. You see on the dinghy on the back there you have.
Is it like kind of like channels or something?
You see on the back you see two white receptacle there.
See that? Yes. Okay.
So that's where these pipe go.
Okay. Yeah.
Then
yeah.
you have
Yeah.
the seat sliding on top of it.
Oh,
So you don't use that seat anymore.
So you can really use your legs on this one.
Well, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These are the biggest muscle you have on the body are these.
That's like professional status. So you have the seat that goes back and forth, and the seat, the wheels, it rides on
Yeah.
these things right here.
Yeah.
That's for when you go sailing. You have the tiller.
Yeah. Tiller. And
Beautiful. It just sits in place. There are two little pins right there. I see. This is my buddy Vil and his wife Princessa's boat. It's a beautiful boat, also built in Sweden. Rocinante.
For me, it's the tender or the dinghy should be stable, and what I like on our dinghy is it's kind of like a catamaran. It's tiny, but it's like a V upside down. It's not like a fully catamaran, but you can stand on the side, and it's for 2 or 3 person. It's relatively stable, even it's quite tiny. And it's double bottom, so the water self drains out, so you don't never need to scoop it out, which is on our purpose since we don't have a dinghy David, so something lifted up. We just keep it on the water all the time. Then on the downside on ours, it's a flat nose, so it's horrible to use on rowing. So you like to use it on the just with the engine most of the time. So if it would be pointy nose, it would be better, but then it wouldn't fit on our deck also, so it's a compromise.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Interesting. So you make a flat nose, but then it gives you more width and more stability and
Yeah,
more
but,
compact fitting.
Yes,
But then you lose the nose, which gives you direction.
yes, I would say so. If you want
Okay.
something to row, you would aim for long and narrow. The longer and narrow is the better for the rowing, and the wider and shorter you make it, you lose all the rowing abilities.
How about the weight of your dinghy?
This one is super light. This one is only like, I never measured exactly, but I would say 30 kilo.
30 kilos. That's not bad. That's not bad.
It's not long, it's maybe 2.5 meter, less than 2.5 meter long, so 7 feet and,
And-
maybe 4 feet wide.
Okay.
And the freeboard is only like a 1.5 feet maximum.
And you custom made it to fit your deck, your foredeck.
No, we were lucky when we found it. It was
Okay.
exactly the maximum size that could fit on our foredeck with.
And tell me this, what kind of construction is that? Is it plywood or?
No, it's all fiber, and there's foam on the transom, and there might be foam also on the middle bottom. That when it's been built up, that it's been used as just as a structural phase.
Oh, okay.
But the transom there's foam to make it a bit more bigger, and then there's where's the engine coming. There's I'm not actually sure what is inside, but it's made heavier from that one, so it can hold the engine. And I eventually added aluminum sheets on both sides of the transom where the engine is, because otherwise it was
Oh yeah,
compressing
compressing.
it down.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, those are great ideas. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time, Bill. Cheers. Enjoy your lunch.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Vil and Princessa's dinghy. And it's got the V, slightly V shaped. It's a very boxy looking dinghy. One of the cons is that he says you always have to put fenders out so it doesn't bang against the hull. It's a self-bailing, which is beautiful. Okay, here are some notes on Vil's boat. He said pay attention to the placement of the front seat, because you'll be using that to sit when you're rowing. Also pay attention to where the oar locks pivots are, because he says on this particular model they could have done a better job and put him in a better position, because he's not comfortable when he's rowing. boat, so he kind of has improvised with some line, and that's not fun. There's some feet holds over there when you're rowing. There's 2 feet holds. Also, I want to mention some notes about the self-bailing construction of this boat. Veal was explaining to me, and I think there's some really good points on that. So, number one, if you make your boat self-bailing, it adds as additional structure to the boat, which all boats need anyways. And the benefit of that, of course, is that it's self-bailing, so you don't need to have a bilge pump. Okay, so Claude, tell me, can I get your opinion on the inflatable dinghy?
Piece of shit. You have to pump all the time when the air goes out, and they're all gonna start leaking sooner or later, and they're costing heaps of money. And when they start leaking, you can't find the glue and the patches to do it, for there is nothing around, or if there is, you have to get it from the other side of the board. And if you hit anything with it and get a hole or anything in it, then it's all fucked. These things here, if you hit it and get something, you just put a slab of fiberglass on there and it's okay.
So Claus is explaining that not only is this a safety design, but it also it gives it structural rigidity.
Yeah, big thing, so you could put a big motor on it and get going when you want to go fishing or wherever you're gonna go. So you just get the thing and build it as big as you have. That one fit right here upside down. See those brackets there?
So you put the nose over there.
No, the nose goes here.
The nose goes right there. And that bracket.
Upside down. The brackets are back there for it.
And see, that makes sense that it fits. So it fits like it's part of your main boat. It fits right in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not how long is this boat?
12 foot.
Oh, 12 foot. That's pretty long for a dinghy.
I think it's 11.8.
So tell me, what's the design of this boat? Is there a certain design?
Mike Allen design.
Oh, it's called Mike Allen?
Mike Allen in Cebu. They're called
Boat Shop Philippines.
Boat Shop Philippines.
So he built it?
No, I built it.
Or you built it, but he gave you the design?
We built, Nat and I built 10 of these, probably.
Huh. Okay, so it's built, so, okay, and how is the stability of this boat?
Well,
Very
you
stable.
could put as many people as you could fit in there and it still go okay.
And it has a very sharp nose on it, so it must break the wave nicely.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, now, so you built this boat, but of course, you've seen everybody's other designs, and you chose this. Why?
Mike Allen, I was at Mike Allen and building a trimaran there, and then my other inflatable that I had, which is just a piece of shit inflatables. And then he said, well, build one of these, so I just built that one, the first one there, and when was that been in? 1988, I guess.
Wow, that thing is, you built this boat in '88.
No, this one we built in Australia. We had, which one is this?
This is number 3.
Number 3. So
Since
88.
So does it have, what kind of bottom shape is that?
It's just there, just flat. A little bit of a V in there, and then comes out to be flat.
Does it, okay.
We built a bunch of these, Nanette and I, in Thailand to sell to people who needed
Oh, really?
dinghies. So I said we probably built about 10 of them, or maybe even more.
And what are these hand holds? Is that what those are? The
Well,
holes?
It just looks good, and then there's also hand holes when you're gonna climb up.
You can tie things on there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a safety design as well.
Well, whatever.
And okay, how about the construction? How do you make this thing?
Just plywood.
cut the plywood.
Cut the plywood and then stitch it together in the bottom, the panels together, and then just put the filler in there and glass it.
So that's plywood. So the outer of it is plywood, and then you fill it in with.
The whole thing is plywood, 6 millimeter plywood.
So 6 millimeter, which is kind of thin.
Yeah, you don't want it too thick, for then it's heavy. Then you can't lift it.
Is it a special plywood or just any plywood?
If you're gonna buy it here, you buy Santa Clara.
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara marine plywood.
Is that stuff easy to work with?
Well, same as everything.
So you cut it into shape. Now is that difficult getting the shape right? Like is it a pattern?
You have to have an offset.
What's that?
That's how you're gonna cut the piece out. You have to make a center line, and from that center line you measure out in the bottom here, which is the side, and then on this side is the top part and all this stuff.
Okay, so there's 3 different positions for the oar locks, so that you have options for 1 rower or 2 rowers or maybe even 3 rowers, and then the center, and then you can sit. And is that also part of the reason why you made kind of a long seat in the middle, so you can just kind of sit anywhere where you need to?
Yeah, so you could sit in there and row it with different people, and also so you have a storage there to put your stuff in.
Yeah, you got a storage there. I like that. Purpose of this dinghy is so that they can go diving, that they have it's big enough and it's stable enough to fit people in it, and it's not going to tip over if you're trying to climb up from the water.
When you go fishing in Sailboat.
Fishing in Chiagos.
Yeah, in Chiagos, when you go outside of there and fishing and throw 2 lines behind it, and after an hour or 2, the whole dinghy is full of fish this big. Every fish is this. There's wahoo and tunas and all kinds of fucking fish. And I mean, when you go back, the dinghy is completely full.
Nice.
Then when you get back there and start cleaning all the fish, then all the other yardies who have a small little dinghy and a 2 horsepower, they come in there and you give the fish away to them, for they can't go outside fishing. There's 2 small dinghy and just a 2 horsepower motor.
Here we go. So look at that. That's a nice function right there. He has 2 holes in the bow. One is just for a line that you can use for all purpose, and then one is for a stainless steel wire, and you can use that for security.